to show a visible reduction in violence.
But the million-dollar question is that the Afghan Taliban, they really want that there should be no foreign troops in Afghanistan. Simple as that. No foreign troops on Afghan soil. But again, the Americans will not leave because they have their own interests, ma'am. And secondly, they have a very genuine concern that this is what we have done earlier, and whatever happened after that, the Taliban took over, they had their government immediately accepted by the government of Pakistan, the government of Saudi Arabia, the government of UAE. Now the equation is pretty different, isn't it?
I don't think so. Faisal, that is my point. I don't think that the Americans are going to withdraw completely. And I personally believe that, yes, maybe initially the Taliban would, in order for face saving and in order to, pacify all those fighters that have been fighting for the past 19 years, they will want maybe a quick exit. But again, look at the statements coming from the Taliban leadership, where time and again they have said they are open to some sort of U.S. presence.
All right. Well, anyway, a very complex, very complicated issue. It has been there for almost 20 years. Rather, I would say more than 45 years. But let's see where it leads. At the end of the day, what this region really deserves is peace. I think enough has been done to curtail the growth and expansion of China, to put a check on Pakistan, to keep an eye on the Iranians, to be under the belly of the Russians. But for how long? Now, things are changing. I think this century is very different. The third quarter would be pretty interesting. But we hope and pray that peace prevails at the end of the day. Anyway, Amina Saiba, it was a pleasure having you. Abim Faizami, thank you so much for your presence. And great to have you, Naqvi Saab. I'll see you, inshallah, on Monday. Till then, you take good care of yourself. Have a great weekend. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you.
चाइना पाकिस्तान के साथ होता है, पूरी दुनिया हमारे साथ होती है.
पाकिस्तान is clearly cornered.
पूरी दुनिया में पाकिस्तान अलग थलग पड़ा है.
India has gradually and successfully isolated Pakistan in a way.
India has said it will ensure the complete diplomatic isolation of Pakistan.
We have to do more, and this is the moment. Pakistan is diplomatically isolated. All major powers, Russia, USA, UK and France, all major countries are slamming Pakistan.
From now onwards, Pakistan will only partner another country in peace. We would not become part of any other conflict. We would not join any country in its conflict.
The U.S. partnership with Pakistan has been long, it's been enduring, it will continue, it's based on mutual trust.
Always Turkey is participating in this MN exercise, and we are proud to be with you.
Pakistan is a key partner in maintaining freedom of the seas and maritime security.
China and Pakistan, our two people, always stand together.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to PTV World News. I'm Shahzad Qayyum with the top stories of this hour. Prime Minister Imran Khan says sale and purchase of votes in Senate polls have become a norm and the beneficiaries of this corrupt system are opposing the open elections. Two people killed in a firing incident near a polling station in Sialkot's Daska during by-election for National Assembly's constituency NA75. Election Commissioner of Pakistan completes the process of scrutiny of nomination papers filed by candidates from all over the country to contest for 48 seats of the Senate, for which polling would be held on March the 3rd. Russian presidential envoy to Afghanistan, Zamir Kabulov, meets Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa, discusses regional security and development in Afghan peace process. Indian troops martyred 3 Kashmiri youth in a cordon and search operation in Shupaiya district of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan Super League begins in Karachi tomorrow in a star-studded opening ceremony followed by Karachi Kings and Quetta Gladiators opener. PTV Sports will telecast the entire event live. But that's all for the moment. For more details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find us on Facebook page with the name of PTV World and follow us on Twitter at WorldPTV. Thanks a lot for watching and it's goodbye for now.
My name is Kuninori Matsuda. I'm Japan's ambassador to Pakistan. Please watch me in the interview with Omar on this Saturday on PTV World.
What is the real Pakistani society about? What are our beliefs and what are our aspirations? Reflecting the true picture of our otherwise misunderstood Pakistani society. Reality versus perception. Where do we see our place in the global society? Join me, Fatma Shaheen, in rediscovering the real Pakistani society.
अकेला चाइना पाकिस्तान के साथ होता है, पूरी दुनिया हमारे साथ होती है.
Pakistan is clearly cornered.
पूरी दुनिया में पाकिस्तान अलग थलग पड़ा है.
India has gradually and successfully isolated Pakistan in a way.
India has said it will ensure the complete diplomatic isolation of Pakistan.
We have to do more, and this is the moment. Pakistan is diplomatically isolated. All major powers, Russia, USA, UK and France, all major countries are slamming Pakistan.
From now onwards, Pakistan will only partner another country in peace. We would not become part of any other conflict. We would not join any country in its conflict.
The U.S. partnership with Pakistan has been long, it's been enduring, it will continue, it's based on mutual trust.
Always Turkey is participating in this MN exercise, and we are proud to be with you.
Pakistan is a key partner in maintaining freedom of the seas and maritime security.
China and Pakistan, our two peoples, always stand together.
The Faisal Mosque is the largest mosque in Pakistan. Located in the national capital city of Islamabad. Completed in 1986, it was designed by Turkish architect Vedat Daloke to be shaped like a desert Bedouin's tent. It is situated at the north end of Faisal Avenue, putting it at the northernmost end of the city and the foot of the Margala Hills, the westernmost foothills of the Himalayas. It is located on an elevated area of land against a picturesque backdrop of the Margala Hills. This enviable location represents the mosque's great importance and allows it to be seen from miles around, day and night. The Faisal Mosque is conceived as the national mosque of Pakistan and is named after the late King Faisal bin Abdulaziz of Saudi Arabia, who supported and financed the project.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. Supreme Court's decision on whether the provisional ordinance promulgated to decide whether there will be show of hands or secret ballot is still awaited. In that kind of a scenario, the situation is as it was, I have to say, perhaps a week ago. We are very, very close to the elections. What are the ramifications of being so close to the elections with a decision of this magnitude pending is what we want to talk about today. What are the ramifications of whether either of these ways of moving forward are allowed by the Supreme Court for all the political parties at this time, for the candidates at this time, for the candidates who are going through scrutiny at this time, for the debate on scrutiny, for the debate on fairness at this time as far as political parties are concerned. If we talk about the PMNN, the PPP, the PDM, there is certainly a huge debate even as far as scrutiny and acceptability of candidates is concerned. How does this relate to the method of voting and what will happen whether the Supreme Court holds secret ballot or whether open ballot, whatever is eventually decided, will affect these candidates? All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Barrister Safiullah Qori, who's a legal expert. Thank you for joining us today. Abdul Samad Yaqub, who's leader PTI. Thank you for being with us. Javed Zadoon, who's a senior analyst. Thank you for joining us today. Safiullah, you're the legal expert, and we've been talking about we will also be joined by Meher Tariq, who's a political analyst. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being with us, Meher. Safiullah, before moving on to anybody else, legally speaking, how do you see the situation at this time, considering the fact, like I said, we're very close to the elections? The situation is murky, grey at the very least for the candidates, for the political parties, and of course, we are seeing both the main political parties. We talk about the government and the PDM at this time, the main opposition, saying that it is for your loss, our gain. Sorry. The debate continues, and for even the Prime Minister said today when he said that it's really if it was earlier when the opposition was in power, then of course they would not have felt what they're saying at this time. Who's insecure, who's not? We're also hearing whether Jahangir Khan Tareen is in play or not. How do you see the situation at this time?
Well, absolutely, Mahrukh. I think you've pointed out very correctly to the uncertainty that has encompassed this entire scenario. And the ordinance itself states that this ordinance will be valid if the Supreme Court gives its validity. Right. The Supreme Court, however, has not said anything as yet. Now, if I were to just sort of run it down, the PTI has filed a petition in the Supreme Court asking for it to choose between the Constitution and the Election Act 2017, wherein different interpretations of the law have been taken. Right. Now, the Constitution, as per the Election Commission of Pakistan, is very, very clear under Article 226, which says that it needs to be a secret ballot. And that is what the Election Commission of Pakistan has stated and said to the court. However, for some reason, this has turned into more of an academic/philosophical debate within the Supreme Court, wherein we are seeing that the judges now are asking the Attorney General to go and research on various other forms of voting. Instead of the single transferable vote which we have in the Senate, they are now asking for research on the proportional representation system. They have also commented about what it means when they say secret, because nothing, as per Supreme Court words, they say nothing can remain a secret forever, and a secret will be unveiled on the day of judgment. And so, I think because of these comments, things have become increasingly difficult for people to understand. In fact, as lawyers, we're also finding it difficult to understand what relevance, the day of judgment might have with the present day elections, and how this is going to affect and impact the elections that are going to take place. So everything said and done, to my understanding, Article 226 is clear that these elections have to be through secret ballot, and furthermore, Article 239 forbids the Supreme Court from entertaining any matter that directly contradicts the Constitution of Pakistan. So, since we have clear constitutional provisions in place, I feel that this is the case that, and not just me, a lot of very senior legal experts have already commented that this case should have been thrown out. But instead what we're seeing is that this case is being turned into more of an academic, philosophical debate about various things like the impact of electronic voting on voting systems, and we're seeing new debates formulating, and at a time when perhaps we don't have time for new debates, at a time when we need a decision.
How do you take this proportional representation, this interest in proportional representation that the Supreme Court has shown?
Mahrukh, I am a big fan of the proportional representation system. Don't get me wrong. I feel that Pakistan's present representation system is absolutely incorrect. I strongly believe that we need to do away with the Senate, have a unicameral system of a parliament, and that parliament should be elected through the proportional representation system, through weighted voting, wherein you assign certain weights to various areas which are lesser developed. And so this is going to bring about, in my opinion, a correct representation of Pakistan and a true flourishing democracy. However, the fact that we are debating it now instead of debating it, and we're debating it in the Supreme Court instead of debating it in the Parliament, is something that I find very worrying, because there are proper institutions for this. And the Election Commission, for instance, has never debated this, whereas the Election Commission could have submitted its recommendations. There are standing committees on elections within the Parliament. They, for some reason, have never done it. And the one thing that I do know is that the Supreme Court is not the right place to be discussing it.
Right. Gee, Abdul Samad Sahab, your take, I mean, your party, as far as you're concerned, the government is very clear. You want open representation. You want there to be, a show of hands, or the procedure that clearly shows who's voting for what, and there is no controversy. Why do you think the opposition is not siding with?
Well, it's not at the moment. The government is seeking the open ballot system, but in the past, all the parties has the same stance. So. First of all, Safiullah has elaborated the constitutional matter, legal side very well. But being in the government, I feel like, in my understanding, that we are somehow seeking from the Supreme Court to temper the secrecy of the ballot. So it's not the clear open ballot, but sort of seeking to temper the secrecy, like to put the barcode so where the secrecy can be revealed. So it is against. Although Safiullah can better elaborate, in my understanding, it may contradict with the secret balloting system. When you reveal the secrecy, when you expose the secrecy, it is, on the other hand, it contradicts with the Article 226, I think. Yeah. So, but we in the government, I mean, we have a sentiment that we are fighting this case on for the high moral grounds. I mean. As the proportion
not because of any insecurity as far as your own members are concerned.
Government has so much to give to. I mean, ultimately, if even it is done under the secrecy, it will be in favor of us. The government has much more to give than the opposition parties.
Then why this last minute?
It's not the matter of. I mean, it's not the matter of gaining or losing.
But you do agree that it is very last minute on the part of the government.
No, our stance was so clear about this proportional representation on open ballot. It's not in this tenure. Even in the past, in the past tenure, we were seeking the same open ballot system. We were raising the voice. But at this time, where the horse trading or where the market is so up, like if you ask anyone in your parliamentarian circle, the rate is like from over 50 crores. It was never from 50 to 70 crores.
Really, it's about the rate has really gone up.
Previously, there was the only most likely in the Balochistan Assembly. We heard the cases over there because a lot of independent candidates won from there. So the Punjab side remains safe. But this time, I mean, it's uncertainty. It's uncertainty.
Gee, Javed Sahab, if it's uncertainty, like Abdul Samad Sahab is saying, why don't they end it? And don't you think they're also slightly, I mean, we have to sort of see the situation as it is today. It is a very last minute, way to come out for the government to go to the Supreme Court to try to feel this the way that they have. They could have gone to the Parliament. They could have done it in a much sooner, because obviously everyone knew that general elections were right around the corner. Why didn't that happen?
Thank you very much, Mahrukh. Mahrukh, we are unfortunately looking at this very serious issue as a standalone issue. While on the contrary, if you look at it holistically, there are problems and there are complications which are particularly in a political domain, like the issue of horse trading, which has badly affected our political fabric in Pakistan. We have seen people making their moves from one party to another, and then without any shame as well. We never tried to put in place any check and balance to stop the horse trading. Ultimately, when we did something, even then the political parties tried to sort of find some loopholes into that process. And the electables, we understand in Pakistani political spectrum that electables are very, very important. And they keep on changing their political loyalties, and they keep on changing their parties as well. But now we are talking about selling and buying of the votes. How can we separate these two very interlinked issues? The issue of horse trading and the issue of buying and selling of the votes. If you have to make certain amendments in the Constitution, and if you want to cleanse the stables, and if you want to put in place certain checks and balances, I think the Parliament is the right place, and every major or minor political party which has representation in the Parliament, they must be invited to join the debate or the negotiations to find a very, very holistic kind of a solution to this very complicated problem. Now, the issue right now we are facing is that we have to stop the selling and the buying of the votes in the upcoming elections. I think time is too short to put in place any check and balance.
Right.
Supreme Court of Pakistan probably is still deliberating. I think they should have done away with it on the 10th or 11th of this month before the schedule was announced by the Election Commission of Pakistan. And interestingly, mahrukh, the Election Commission of Pakistan has stated their position, and their position is that without making an amendment in the Constitution, there cannot be a balloting which is not a secret balloting.
Right. Meher, do you think that it is a failure of... Right. Sorry, I don't think I can get her. Safiola, do you think that it's of course an across-the-board failure of all political parties? I agree with Javed Sahab when he says that this is about a debate. It should have inspired a debate between all political parties, so that everyone could have given their due. There could have been that kind of. But unfortunately, the government and the opposition don't have that kind of relationship.
Absolutely, so I just want to clarify one thing. Let's look at both these systems first, and let's try and understand what's happening, because I feel we get lost in emotions, we get lost in a strange moral dilemma, and we don't understand what's really happening here. So it's admitted, and I admit without any doubt, that the present system leads to a lot of corruption. There's a lot of horse trading, a lot of party crossing. But as Javed Sahab said a little while ago, that what they're trying to do by the open ballot is ensure that party members follow the line of the party leader. So if party leader says you vote for this, then that person votes for that person without any secret, openly. Now we have to understand whether this is permitted by the Constitution or not, and what our Constitution envisioned. Now, Pakistan is a parliamentary representation system. The very purpose of a parliamentary representation system is that you represent a person. That person has the ability to think on their own. He does not follow the line of the party leader. He does not listen to the party leader. He exercises his own will. The party leader may say one thing, but he may decide, and he may cross the floor. He may do however so he wishes, because the people have voted for that person. They have not voted for the party. They have not voted. This is the grand difference. Now, in Germany, for instance, you have the proportional representation system, where you vote for the party. You don't vote for the person. There, the system is locked. You cannot cross over into other parties. So, for instance, if Pakistan had a proportional representation system, we would not have all of these electable people. People would not vote for an individual candidate. What they would do is they would go and they would vote for PTI, they would vote for PM Nawaz, they would go and vote for People's Party. They would only vote for the party. In the end, the party leader will have a percentage of votes. So, for instance, let's say PTI would have 60% of the votes, PM Nawaz would have 30% of the votes. So, Imran Khan would then control 60% of all seats. And he could fill in whoever he wishes. Anybody who is elected, non-elected, because that person will then follow his will.
And when you say cross over into other parties, we also have a law which doesn't permit that, right?
No, that was after the 18th Amendment. So this is also something that we need to keep in mind. This was not a law. This was something that was changed, and this is something that is still under debate. Floor crossing is something that I feel is a necessary part of any democracy. It is something that is commonly practiced all over the West.
But we don't at this time
have at the moment, after the 18th Amendment, we forbade it. And so this shows the insecurities of the party leaders. The party leaders don't want their people going to an another party. The party leaders want to control their people with an iron fist. This is a party dictatorship that we are fostering. And so the idea of democracy was to give complete power to the representative who can decide what's best for his constituency, not to the party leader.
Abdul Samad sir, before you answer that, let me also interject and say, I think that in a sense, whether, for example, there's a candidate at this time, and I'm just going to further the argument that Safiullah is talking about, when he says that you might not agree with a candidate, you might agree with a party, of course. I mean, you agree, you have, like for example, you have your allegiance with PTI. But you might not agree with a particular individual that your party has fielded, as a candidate. So you might choose not to vote for that person, for example, because you know for a fact that that person may not be honest. Yeah. Doesn't our form of government give you that right?
No, this is not a matter of honesty. I mean, by the time, when they got the tickets, it's not a small place. Like, you have to elect from all over the Pakistan, and you got to deeply check the honesty. And by the time, there can be multiple factors: greed, or the family, or someone who, like Amir Liaquat said, that he is not going to vote for the current federal minister, or sort of that personal revenges. It's a politics, But I hope I am not wrongly perceived. Are you in favor of floor crossing, or like?
No, I'm definitely in favor of floor crossing. I think it's a necessary part of democracy.
Then you must remember the time when the floor crossing was allowed, and the Changamaga siyasat, Chamba House siyasat, and the Mari Natiagali siyasat, that they all were collected, and when there were no confidence moves. How come you can allow someone to floor cross? To cross a party when you are being elected on the mandate, on the ticket of the party. If you allow the floor crossing today, someone will come and from the corporate sector and inject the money and change the governments. After this amendment in the constitution, there is a stability in the National Assembly.
That certainly does give you. Okay, Safiullah, I'll let you answer that. Let me go to first. Let me go to Javed Sahab. Javed Sahab, what do you think? You think, of course, it certainly does. I think that, to be fair, Abdul Samad Sahab does have a point. It does give that kind of, that the corruption to again have a heyday. A lot of pulling and pushing and trying to change the government. All of that, isn't it?
Mahrukh, what Safiullah is talking about, floor crossing, that is primarily based on issues and issues of national significance. We are talking about floor crossing in terms of changing the loyalties, and particularly in a situation like no confidence voting, and when, as pointed out by Samasab, Changamanga and even Marriott Hotel and so on, there are many examples that the parties, probably the whole party, shifted their loyalties. We really can't allow that in Pakistan, because Pakistani political muddying of waters, I think we have seen in the past as well. Look at what is happening right now. The political alignments and realignments is based on not the national interests, not the interests of the political parties, respective political parties, but it is based on personal agendas. Look what is happening in the PPP and PMLN. Are they fighting a battle for their own principles? Are they fighting a battle for their ideological principles? No. I think the answer is very clear. It is because their own personal interests are in jeopardy. I think Pakistan Muslim League and People's Party, the leadership of the two main political parties right now, is facing myriads of issues, including cases in the courts.
That's true. But do you think that prima facie a person should a person have the right to decide whether, any parliamentarian, whether he wants to vote with his party or he wants to go against it?
I think I would agree with Safiullah that when it comes to the national interest, because when there's a debate in the parliament, you can vote for according to your conscience. Here we are talking about something entirely different. But
by allowing open ballot, are you preventing people from voting according to conscience?
So I think that's a different issue. You really can't mix it, because open ballot and secret ballot, now since it is part of the constitution, you make an amendment and go for the open ballot. Nobody is going to stop it. disregard of the debate or the continuing debate or the debate in the future that whether
when you
right or wrong.
vote according to loyalties, when somebody wants to vote according to their conscience and go against their party head and they know there's going to be an open ballot,
then it is against the spirit of democracy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely, it is against the spirit of democracy.
So you should allow that question to remain.
The question is that if it is open ballot system, I mean, when someone vote the party from some party vote to the other candidate.
Let me just go to Meher. I'll come back to you. She's been with us. Meher, do you agree? We're having this debate, I don't know if you've been hearing or not, about whether allowing open ballot would then be, in fact, allowing people, not allowing people to go according to their conscience, because then, of course, they would be afraid of their party heads and they would then have to toe the party line.
I don't understand what anybody's conscience has to do with voting in an election for which all the parties in the last, I don't know, 15 years, or at least the last two governments have been saying repeatedly that they wanted to make the system transparent. What I don't understand is why the PTI took forever to bring this ordinance in front of Parliament. That is one thing that they have done a long time ago. Right now, it seems like a knee-jerk reaction to whatever was happening or whatever was being said. They knew there was a Senate election, even if the other parties weren't on board. Can you hear me?
My question is simply, do we allow our parliamentarians to vote according to their own conscience, according to their own will, barring whatever their political affiliations, the political affiliations of their party heads may be? Isn't that inherent in the right to vote? That's my question. Sorry, I don't think she's with us. Ji. Ji Javed Sahib.
Just 5 seconds. We have very clear example what happened in the USA. 5 Republicans, they voted for impeaching President Trump. I think they never defected their party. They never changed their loyalties. But it was on the basis of the principles that Mr. Trump damaged the overall political structure.
Yeah, if I may allow, in fact, this is a fantastic example. This is really a great example because the fact that a lot of Republicans, despite being anti-Trump, still toed the party line. They were able to stop the impeachment. The exact reason why Trump was not impeached this time around, despite an overwhelming amount of evidence against him, was because party was just towing its party line, and the party representatives could not change. So this is something very important to keep in mind. Now, I think one of the reasons why this debate is going in an odd direction is because I am being forced to choose a side, whether I am for one thing or the other. I am just analyzing it neutrally, without any sort of favors towards any
and of course
side.
The flip side is that when you allow that kind of freedom, then it can be abused.
I just want to think of it as an academic, as a lawyer, as you know, somebody who just wants to mull over the entire system. Now, what I understand is that Pakistan's constitution since Pakistan was created has maintained one system, which is the system of parliamentary representation, wherein the Pakistani constitution, as has been envisioned, gives the right of the person elected all the powers. The person that people elect. Now the people elect that person for whatever reason, for money, for family, for what have you. You know, you can have any number of wrong reasons. The Pakistani constitution doesn't care about that. The Pakistani constitution says that the will of the people is in their area representative. The area representative will decide what's best for those people by aligning himself with any particular party, with aligning himself on any particular principle. And so, of course, this method has its drawbacks. There is no doubt that this is not a perfect system, but nor is there any other political system that is perfect. Now, what we are doing is we are making a hodgepodge of this system. The other system allows is diametrically different. The other system says, forget about the representative, the person. Think about only the party. Give parties all the power. Let them decide what's best for the people. So if people want to elect PTI, give PTI all the power. Don't give their individual candidate all the power. This is where we have to figure out where we stand. We cannot consistently try and say, oh, we like this, we like that. The Constitution of Pakistan at the moment, as it stands right now, is a parliamentary representative system. what the Supreme Court is now talking about, what various other political parties are talking about, what these ordinances are leading towards is a proportional representation system, which I am in favor of if done through constitutional amendment. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is, at present, as things stand,
the Supreme Court, it's not in the purview of the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court cannot decide this. This is something that has to be done through the Parliament, through constitutional amendment. If it is done, I am very happy for the change to take place. But as the law stands right now, this is all illegal. And that's what I'm trying to say.
We need to, I'm sorry, Abdul Samad Sahab, you've been wanting to
Safiullah is, I think, confused. I mean, when the honorable parliamentarian member is not bound to toe the party when it comes to the legislation. When there were several bills presented by the government representative, and the Human Rights Minister Shri Mazari went against that. I mean, no one, even sometime opposition favors the bill presented, or sometime the government members favors the bill is presented by the opposition member. It depends on the legislation. But when it comes to the when there is a two electoral colleges. I mean, when it's a Senate, when it's a election of a president. When it comes to the elections, then they have to, I mean, toe the party line. I mean, they have to support the presidential candidates or a Senate candidates. So on legislation, they are free. But when it comes to the election,
why should it be different? That's the question. Why should their right to vote be curtailed in this regard and not in the
It can only be happened if you conduct the Senate elections independently. I mean, the candidates are independent, then it's okay. But if the candidate represents the parties, then the party members has to toe to vote.
But you're curtailing their right. But then their right isn't unfettered.
This is also legislation.
Then there is another point. See, if someone vote against the party candidate, will he be disqualified? The question is
within the party. Yes, of course.
If even in the open ballot system, if someone goes against their party candidate, then will he be disqualified? No. No, he will not be disqualified.
But he might be disqualified from the party then.
Not from the party. Cannot disqualify him.
Party cannot.
It happens when the 20 candidates, the members from the KPK, they voted against, and the video is revealed. Even at that time, we went to the election. PTI went to the election commission, and we couldn't disqualify them.
But not at that time.
We tried, but there was. I mean, again.
But the point is that there will be ramifications for those people for the next elections, when they want to come again. I mean, that's
is there any article in the constitution or in election rules that if someone goes against their party, will he be disqualified or not?
Yes, 18th Amendment.
But there will be blacklisted if not disqualified.
I do actually have the answer to this. The 18th Amendment, unfortunately, did give the power to the party leader to disqualify anyone who he so wishes at any point of time, with or without cause. So, with or without cause. So, he can do it without cause.
Only if he change the party.
Even so. I'm
sorry. Even if he doesn't change the party. For any reason,
if he votes against, for any reason. So if Imran Khan, 18th Amendment brought along this change. So for instance, Imran Khan now has the right to, if he feels that his party MPs did not vote for the candidates that he has fielded, he has the right to throw them out of the party.
We were failed to disqualify even Aisha Golalai.
Yes, and that's
there's several instances.
Yes. So that happens, and so this leads to even further problems because these people go to the courts, they get stays, and so this is what the problem is.
Even in
but
Punjab.
My question is, let's leave that aside. Okay, we'll go and ascertain whether how much of that is a possibility or not, because what you're saying is different from what Safiullah is saying. There's a clear difference of opinion. Javed, the point is that it doesn't mean that there are no ramifications or there are no consequences for the person, even if you cannot disqualify him, and we don't know whether that's true or not.
Absolutely.
Because, the party will not bring him again. There is, he'll be blacklisted. So, we can't say that just because you vote against the party and the party knows there'll be no consequences.
Well, if you look at the structure of Pakistan's political parties, we definitely know that there's no democracy within the parties themselves. There is a dictatorial kind of overarching control of the political wing and the parliamentary wing as well. So I think there's not a single parliamentarian who can stand up to his party leadership and defy the authority of the party leadership, going on the basis of even on the basis of the principles in the parliament.
You're talking about voting.
Yes.
You're talking about voting against the party line. You cannot even tweet against what the party line is. I'm saying that on record. It's not possible. How can you do it? Whether you as a member of PTI deny it or not, this is true for across the board, all political parties.
Every political party.
There is no democracy.
So I think
I do criticize
any individual.
I do criticize openly because.
But there is. I don't know, but you might criticize it, but there is a reaction from the party.
But overall, I agree with you.
There are screenshots being shared across political, political landscape or political groups by, people, and then of course there are consequences.
No, we are. Mahrukh, you're right.
If you look at certain examples, not many examples, there are many examples. I can give you a few examples. The example of Mr. Atazad Hassan, a luminary, a very prominent member of Pakistan People's Party, when he started speaking, and not even very openly, against the policies of the top leadership, what did happen to him? He has been marginalized. So I think same happens in every political party. Look at
but Mahrukh is right, because we are told that according to the party discipline, if we are going to criticize some member or some party line, they will send us a show cause notice and they will ask to discuss it in the party forums, not openly or not in a publicly. So we are not allowed to speak on the media or openly or tweet. You are right.
But even otherwise, you're saying, like Javed Saab is saying, there is Atazad Hassan Saab's example, there are numerous other examples, even if you don't name individuals, when you don't toe the party line, when you don't echo, I would say, not even toe, in this country, when you don't echo the line of the party,
and blindly.
Yes. If you were, I'm sure, as we all know, and I'm very happy that this is going, where this debate is going. If you look at any Twitter of any political head in this country, there is one tweet which comes from, whether it comes from Imran Khan Saab or it comes from Bilawal Bhutto, or Maryam Nawaz, and then there is followed by similar tweets which are, across the board from all of their parties, and then there is, so the culture at this time is unfortunately.
No, these are mini fiefdoms, Mahrukh. These are not even political parties. These are kingdoms in which there is a king and below him are his servants, and those servants blindly follow whatever the king says.
So we cannot deny the fact that when the Abdul Qadir was, sorry to interrupt you, when the Abdul Qadir was given the Senate ticket, the ticket was issued, and there was outrage. The grave outrage, and then it was refused.
It might be, I'm not saying this, but it might be that PTI is more democratic than, for example, and some other political party, or some other political party is more democratic. I'm not saying that, but the point is essentially the same. That there is a party head, and you have to toe that line if you want a ticket.
I think we have a very simple answer to this question when you say, how long has Imran Khan been the chairman of the party for, and how long has Imran Khan been, I don't know if he's the chairman or the president. I think he's the chairman of the party. So
which goes back to
anyone
for example. The Bhuttos and the
everyone,
and there is
what have you. So these chairmen never get changed. There's no chance of these chairmen getting changed. A party member simply cannot dream. There is no concept of them even thinking that there is any possibility that anybody could get up from PTI today and replace Imran Khan as chairman of the PTI. That's not going to happen.
Safullah is motivating me to contest the election against the chairman of the PTI, and I wish to contest in the next election.
But going back,
but there are no certain elections. Such kind of elections, the true elections have never been conducted. Once in a party in 2011, I think we contested election 2012. And there was a great rifts in the party. So it was
I want your take on this. So how do you see this situation?
Mahrukh, if you allow the kind of a debate within the political parties and you have a tolerance towards the dissenting voices, I think that would lead to democracy within the parties itself. And I think democracy starts from the political parties and then it goes to the parliament. But the problem, or rather I think the very serious problem, is that we do not tolerate dissent. Dissenting voices are suppressed, and ultimately such people are marginalized, and rest of them they are told to learn a lesson from that and never open their mouths as far as the top party leadership is concerned. Samasa was talking about withdrawing the tickets from certain individuals to start with why they were granted tickets. And many people who are with the party for the last 20 plus years, they have been ignored, and the parachuters have been given tickets, and on the basis of wealth, on the basis of loyalties, or maybe some other factors. I think if this keeps on happening, you really can't expect the kind of loyalty from the political elite or the political class within the parties I'm talking about. So ultimately, when the time comes and they are tempted to shift their loyalties inside, they do that. So I think it is about time that look the composition of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, the government sitting in Islamabad. The people, most of the people, they have been taken from one political party to the other political party, and they are occupying the most important positions in portfolios. While there's a heartburning among the genuine followers or the genuine workers of the political party Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, they have been marginalized, while the people coming from, and when the time comes, when the chips are down, I think they will start abandoning the ship as well. But those cadres, those are the political cadres of the party, they will never abandon the party. So I think the real strength of every political party is their hardcore ideological political cadres.
Javed, what about the fact that at this time we are talking about the relationship between the opposition and the government, and we've been talking about it on and off for a long time now as far as legislation is concerned, but now it's become more important when you look at this pending ordinance in the Supreme Court is concerned. And today what we are seeing as far as the by-elections are concerned, it's likely that the relationship between the opposition and the government will likely get worse. How do you think in this kind of scenario, what kind of a future does any legislation, does any sort of agreement, any kind of a working relationship have between the opposition and the government?
I think there's a very clear and present danger of happening that. What we have seen today in Daska, I think is just the tip of the iceberg, because the kind of acrimony and the kind of feelings of animosity as far as different political parties are concerned, particularly Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and the opposition, I think they are really crossing the lines now, because democracy is all about tolerance, is all about listening to each other's dissenting views, and it's all about negotiations, and even on differing issues you need to sit together and find a way out. If you start taking up guns, and I think that's not democracy. What happened in Daska is very, very unfortunate, and it can tell you the things which are coming in the coming days. If it is happening in the by-elections, then what can we expect in the general elections? So I think very turbulent times, and political parties are very mature in Pakistan. They can never say that, well, 70 years is not a very small time period for political parties to mature. They should understand that they are representing the people of Pakistan, over 200 million people. And if they start giving the kind of a message what they are right now giving to the people of Pakistan, that is the message of immaturity. So they need to mature, and I think I totally agree with you that the only way forward or only way out is negotiations. You need to engage the political parties. I think it's the prime responsibility of the government.
So, Mahrukh, I agree with all of this, that, I feel like the idea of democracy is being rolled over. And it's very worrying how every party is behaving. It's not just one party. Every party carries the blame here. The fact that we have the Prime Minister who has on various occasions now stated that the idea of democracy does not work, and that China and Russia and UAE have been successful because there was no democracy. So we have the Prime Minister actively championing non-democratic countries. We also have the Prime Minister recently stating that if, there was...
But do you think there's kind of, there is, even if you talk about the opposition at this time, there's a reactionary kind of politics.
Of course, I feel like so one of the things that I keep saying about the opposition is that I find the opposition to be quite incompetent, and I feel that they do not have any plan whatsoever for anything. They continue to just come forward, absolutely, like you said, they just react. There is no proactive plan for the opposition, for the PDM, and for any other political party that may have any spite with PTI. Because what we see is we keep seeing them just criticizing the government but not presenting solutions. And what we desperately require is solutions. We see that the PTI, whereas it is struggling to give any solutions, it is also giving knee-jerk solutions. So for instance, even if we were to look at this issue of what we are talking about right now, the Senate elections. So I remember the PTI first put a bill forward in the National Assembly. Nothing happened with that bill. The bill just remained a bill. It wasn't passed. Then they decided that they wanted to take the matter to the Supreme Court. Whilst the matter was still in the Supreme Court, then they passed an ordinance. So they haven't really told one particular line.
But we have to keep the background in mind to give them their due. You know, we have an opposition. You had Mariam Nawaz come and say, well, you know, we're not going to do it because it's you.
Yes.
You know, that's the primary, and when the opposition comes up with that reason,
yes, absolutely.
We agree with the principle of it. We agree that, you know, there should be open ballot, but we're not going to do it because it's you.
Because it's you, absolutely.
So that is when you're clearly putting the interests of the people or what you believe in on the back foot, because of what reason?
And I find that very unfortunate. I feel